Good evening everyone, I'm Diana Thomson of Speech Marks. I'm here at the second event for the Women in Property, part of the Property Council tonight. I'm speaking to these women to talk about the challenges that they're facing in the property industry and in the wider community that support the property industry. I'm hoping that I'll be giving them some tips and tricks on how to speak up and be heard, and some other things to help them with networking at events like this. Women in Property is a 20-year-old association of women, like-minded women from the property industry who want to support each other and get to know each other within the Auckland area. So I'm looking forward to a fantastic presentation with some pretty incredible women. My name is Diana Thomson from Speech Marks. I'm here at the second Women in Property event for 2017. Women in Property is putting on this event tonight with me to help encourage the women of the wider property industry speak up and be heard. Women in Property is a 20-year-old association of women, like-minded women from the property industry who want to support each other and get to know each other within the Auckland area. So I've got Renee Buckingham here from Kiwi Income Property, and she's going to tell you a little bit about what makes the Women in Property events so successful and what she enjoys about Women in Property.
Thank you. Women in Property has been a great platform for me throughout my career, an opportunity to meet with women in the industry and also share experiences in different roles.
Some people say that it's nice to actually come along to something where there's maybe where they were hinting a bit of colour in the room.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, although I'm in colour, but and a wine helps.
So what brings you to Women in Property events then, Kate?
Well, I was here to pick up tips on how to do public talking.
Rebecca, I heard you laughing a lot, which is great, thank you. But apart from being totally entertained, was there something that you had as a takeaway for this evening?
Oh, a takeaway. Yep. No, I liked the fact that you talk about people showing their confidence and being confident in our ability to do what we do. And I felt that there's probably a lot of ladies here who could probably take away from you tonight that actually they're probably quite good at what they do. They just need to be a little bit more confident about their ability.
The first time that we got the email from Property Council that's about speech and speaking and all of that, I wouldn't think that it's going to be about women and how they are and women empowerment, and I loved how you took it there, and it's completely related. So yeah, that was the best thing.
You reminded us that we have to stop being apologetic for how good we are and how strong we are. Even though we work collaboratively, it's always this we, but don't forget when it is an I that you should really kind of take credit for that.
So what I'll definitely take away is your kind of stepping stones. So I have a team that I work with at ServeCorp, and one of them is very, very shy. So I'm actually going to talk to them about that. I do a team meeting every morning, and we kind of try to motivate and things like that. So I'm going to talk them through that tomorrow.
I liked the bit at the end actually when you said, no one in the room tonight wanted me to fail. We were all here wanting you to succeed.
Given the industry is male dominated, I think it's really important that women sort of forge networks together and stick together and share ideas.
But also the fact that we can also see each other just slightly out of our work environment, but we can also meet role models, which is really important for a woman when you're in a minority within an industry. And it keeps on going. I'm almost there, out at the East Docks, the Royal Docks. That's right, I was 4 different modes of transport away at the back and beyond of the London docks. I used to look over and go, oh, there's the Docklands Tower off in the distance. But I didn't enjoy it, right up until the point that I told the boss that he was sexist. So I won't bore you with why, but I ended up having a 6-month contract at Healy & Baker. Healy & Baker had this thing coming up called Y2K. Does anyone remember Y2K? That was fun. So I sat there and just did what I had to do, but I wasn't really sure whether I was doing it right, so I hightailed it out of there and went to New Zealand before the clock ticked over, just in case my plans weren't right. One phone call to Deborah Levy, and bada bing, bada boom, I got an interview with the boys at Retail Solutions. It was a great job. My first role was to manage the Vodafone portfolio. I was in-house, and this gives you an idea how long ago it was. They were on Pitt Street. That's like 3 head offices ago. Yeah, it's quite a while ago when I was in-house at Vodafone. They were great, and I took over the Flight Centre portfolio. Lovely bunch of people, but I have to say it's the woman, not the men, the woman of Retail Solutions that really made that job. I was under a bit of guidance from Georgie Clackworthy and Fiona Newton. I was joined by Helen Buckingham, who managed the Whitcoulls portfolio. When she left, I was then joined by the lovely Rebecca Fraser, and of course, as Renee said, she started out at Retail Solutions as well. Long story again, which I won't go into, but it was time for a change, and I moved on to Genesis Energy. Again, I was appointed as their first dedicated national property manager. National is a bit of a stretch of the word, because at the time they only had a portfolio in the North Island. But let's just think about that portfolio. I had 2 hydropower schemes, one of which went round the entire Mount Ruapehu area. I had a coal-fired power station, one ex-coal-fired power station with its bucket path, its sediment ponds, and let's not forget the tanny farm. I had 2 dairy farms, 1 Mary Dragway, 4 offices, and 5 houses in a tiny town called Tuai. It was a big challenge. There were lots of different things to do, and it was really exciting. And that's without all the extra opportunities that I was given. You know those ones that are opportunities, not a big pain in the ass, according to your boss. This finishes in 2007. Honestly, days, if I could have skipped out of that office, I would have, but I couldn't. I was pregnant and going on maternity leave. In 2008, when my boss came back to me and said, well, Di, you know, we'd really like you back, but it's hard with a baby, so I've managed to get permission to see if we can split your role and you can have a part-time job. Well, I know that's the Holy Grail, ladies, and you're thinking, how can you accept that? I couldn't, and we can blame my husband. He had not only got me pregnant again, but he had also got a transfer to Singapore as the property manager, head of property, I should say. Sorry, love. Head of property for Toll Global Logistics. So off I went with a 1-year-old pregnant to Singapore, and I joined this club, the Expat Wives Club. It was nice, don't get me wrong, but I can honestly tell you that sunshine and palm trees, and let's not forget the full-time live-in help, can disguise a few things. When you're an expat wife, yeah, you've got lots of time on your hand and it can be fun. But you're there at the beholden and the love of your husband, who's the work permit holder. And you're both there, or in our case, all 4 of us there, at the graciousness of their company. I couldn't work full-time. I couldn't open my own bank account, have my own Visa card, or even have my own phone account. Everything had to be in his name. So I ended up in a counsellor's office going, I really shouldn't be this unhappy. It seems ridiculous, you know, here I am, blah, blah, blah. Had a chat and she said, well, to be fair, you've been through 4 of the top 10 most stressful things that people go through in 3 years. upset? She said, yeah, but what you need to do is find something else outside of the house. You know, with 2 little E's, it wasn't practical to go and start a job. That would have been a 60 to 80 hour working week in Singapore. So I had to find something else, and I chose to start down the path of public speaking as a get out of the house. I was lucky at the time to be at an International Women's Day event, so March 2011, and it was offered up by one of New Zealand's best public speaking coaches to train a couple of women. And the idea was that she'd give us free one-on-one coaching, because she was an expat wife, she wasn't allowed to work either, and the idea was that we would give a speech to another group of women. And here I am on what I call my maiden voyage. We're at the New Zealand High Commissioner's residence, and the group is New Zealand Chamber of Commerce, but all women. And I was talking about the challenges that expat women face when it looks like that we're having the time of our lives. So that's how I started out. I didn't get any more professional training than that. I did a lot of my work through Toastmasters. When we came back, I knew that I didn't want to get into the property profession, despite my husband kindly saying, I could bring a few people for you, honey. I wanted to set up a company, and I just had to figure out what I wanted to do. It took me quite a while to get to this. It didn't come immediately. I started joining women's network groups, and within 6 months, instead of just being a guest at the Go-To Girl event, I was asked to MC. Clearly, Natalie Cutler-Welsh of the Go-To Girl network saw something in me. I started joining the Venus networking group, which is like a BNI just for women, and I realised that there were women that had been in business, owned their own businesses, but couldn't tell me anything really good about their business. They seemed to struggle with more than hello, I'm from. This is crazy. You own your own business. You've got to be able to give a great elevator pitch. Surely you've got the 1-minute promo down pat. Surely. And what about your 6-minute spotlight? They're like, no, I've joined for a year, and I keep saying, no, I'm not going to do that. You're there for referrals. They couldn't do it. So I designed a course, which is called Public Speaking Business Basics. That's now been picked up by the Venus Academy, and I'm doing all those courses open only to women with the Venus Academy. Later this year, I'll be bringing in the Speaker Sisterhood from the United States. It's kind of an alternative to Toastmasters, but again, women only, because I've seen that women like to learn and try out and stumble and fail with each other and support each other. So it got me thinking, if I'm seeing this in the businesses that I'm meeting, and the women that are owning their own businesses, the solo entrepreneurs, surely this must be happening in the wider business community. I wonder whether Deborah Levy was right. Was it something to do with schooling? Why was it that we were being 60% of the law graduates and so many other degrees, but we weren't continuing on? Why were people like me going, nah, I've had enough. I can't be bothered with it anymore. It wasn't just about having a family. I don't have to look very far. Has anybody read this book? A few of you? Would you recommend that everyone reads it? I've got to say, I thoroughly recommend it. I hold it up, but I've got it on a Kindle. Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook. I've got that wrong. She was at Google. She says that as women, we get treated differently. In the American public school system, it's well known that teachers are biased towards boys. They do let boys interrupt, answering and asking questions, whereas they'll tend to tell girls, come on now, put your hand up, kind of like, there's a good girl. We internalise negative messages that we get through TV and movies about not being the leader. We internalise messages about, when they say that one was really ambitious, but what they're meaning is bossy, because God forbid some of us would be ambitious. And that we internalise messages about whether we're leaders or not. It sounds like a depressing read, but I don't really think it is. I think it's something that you have to sit down and think, is this me? Isn't it? And then there's that imposter syndrome. Has anyone heard of the imposter syndrome? Does anyone suffer from the imposter syndrome? The imposter syndrome is more common with women. Remember when I said they gave us a degree each, one for Claire and I? Imposter syndrome. Can you imagine any guy you know saying something like that? Oh, they're like, sweet, I got a degree in 3 years and I'm just straight through on every subject. Right balance. They just think they did it right. They wouldn't think, oh gosh, I don't think I deserve this. And that's imposter syndrome. We carry that on with our fear of not being disliked, our fear of maybe being told that we're wrong, and then we start to think possibly that we're not supposed to be there, that we don't know enough. Guys just wing it. And they also tend to just take credit for their success, whereas we'll use language like, oh, and then we did this, and we found that this, and etc. One lady said to me, oh, I know that. I remember my boss saying that to Tara a few years ago. Tara kept saying we, and he had to say, no, you. Just because the finance department checked your figures, just because the legal people read over your contract, doesn't mean it's a we job. But we like to be inclusive, and therefore not take credit for what we've done. And this is the problem with women a lot in business. We don't take credit for what we have done. And why is that important? Because a 2011 McKinsey report said men are generally promoted on their potential, women are promoted on their past achievements. Does that rub anybody the wrong way? It rubs me the wrong way. But the thing is, it's only really important if you're not singing your own praises. It's only really important if you're not telling people what your achievements have been. Because if you tell them, then they're going to promote you. Theoretically, anyway. We underestimate our own abilities. We underestimate how good we are. Oh God, it's a depressing story, isn't it? So I had to look and think, well, let's think, what is the answer to this? There's got to be something good in here. Okay, Hillary Clinton, you might have heard of her. She's had public speaking coaches for 20 odd years. If you're not comfortable with public speaking, and no one starts out, including Hillary Clinton, you have to learn to be good at it. Yeah, she would say that. What about this guy? Presentation literacy is not an optional extra, it's a core skill for the 21st century. Chris Anderson, TED Talks. Yeah, sure. He would have said that, he says that, his whole business relies on public speaking. But he's right, you know. The more that we have of this emails and text messages, the more we lose the basic building blocks of public speaking. Here's a good one. Probably can't read the writing, but at the top of this list it says, this is from a survey from the Graduate Management and Missions Council survey of 2014. It says, oral communication, listening skills, written communication and presentation skills are the things that companies want the most of graduates and the highest proficiency. In other words, I don't really mind what your grades were, but if you can give a good 5-minute speech, you're in. And I thought this is quite daunting because we sort of look at it and think, well, I'm not going to get up and do a 15-minute presentation. That's too scary. And I started thinking, oh, it's a bit like one of those hierarchy of needs, you know, you just build your way up. And I thought, well, that looks like a mountain. So I thought, well, isn't it more like this? It's more like a staircase where you start with everyday conversation. You introduce yourself with elevator pitches and get good at questions and answers. Then you might be able to do 1-minute speeches and meetings. You might get a bit of training and go on and do presentations. And then you might need a little bit more help as you start to do conferences or workshops, and then you hit the glass ceiling. Maybe. I put TED Talks and keynotes because that's where I'm aiming for. If you haven't watched any TED Talks today, please do. Just go to the most watched ones. The top 3 are brilliant. Amy Cuddy, if you're really interested in presentation skills, watch Amy Cuddy's TED Talk. I thought a property analogy, better chuck it in for you ladies. So here we go. Public speaking, building blocks. You just take one level at a time. You're not going to come and stand here and do this if you're not doing shorter presentations and getting good at them. So keep building up. Keep building up your skills. But what is it that women need to think about the most? That's great, you're thinking, I'll just go on a course. But what is it that I find resonates the most with women? 3 Ps. I say 3 because that's what you're told in public speaking coaching. There should just be 3 points. Except I've got 4. So we'll start with the 3 main ones. Pause, pitch, pace. If nothing else, ladies, this is your most important foundation. Pause, pitch, pace. Let's start off with pitch because this is controversial. Pitch. Deep sounds travel further. They are easier to listen to, and therefore men's voices tend to travel more and we listen to them easier. It's no coincidence, I don't believe, that successful politicians and radio announcers that are female have deeper toned voices. I'm not saying you need to go and change the tone of your voice, but you just need to be aware that if you do speak in a higher pitch, that you need to really relax your diaphragm before you present or speak to a large audience. Just really work on taking the breath deep to keep the resonance low. The other thing is, and this is one of my favourites, is the rising inflection. Does anybody know what I mean by the rising inflection? Let me give you an example. That New Zealanders, what we do sometimes is we speak in a rising inflection, so that every time that we make a statement, it sounds like we're questioning what we're saying. If you're thinking, oh God, that's me, okay, stop it. If you're in business and you're doing a business presentation and you're making a statement about, and it was the most successful year that we've had so far, you might also go, wasn't it? Because that's what your voice is saying. No more rising inflection. Pace. When things move quickly, you can't really see them properly. When people speak really quickly, they trip over their words, and you can't listen to them. I was in a meeting a few weeks ago, and it was just a committee meeting for a club, and I think the lady that's very good at her job, she's a national development manager for a big New Zealand company, spoke so quickly that no one really listened. I mean, we had had dinner and she was speaking really quickly, and we had a couple of wines, but as soon as she started speaking, we all just went, oh, God, slow it down. Men only speak at 125 words per minute. We tend to speak at 150. Give the poor buggers a break. The other thing is that if you speak quickly, it sounds like you're nervous. And if you're doing a presentation to a large group, you don't want to sound nervous. But if you are nervous, you don't want to sound nervous. A lot of breathing involved with that. And the last one, pause. You pause for effect the way that a symphony or a Disney tune for a movie has a pause. Often when you dump down some loads of statistics, it's great to let your audience catch up. We call certain words pause fillers. Like, oh, you know what I mean? You know? Those are all pause fillers, and you should use pause instead of pause filler. If you pause for effect, things are going to sound, again, you're going to sound more confident, you're going to sound clearer, and you're going to give your audience a chance to listen and take in what you're saying. The best person I can give an example of that you may have heard is Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill was the master of putting a pause in. You know, we'll fight them in the beaches. We'll fight them on the fields. He apparently leant over to Anthony Eden, his foreign secretary, and went, awful speech. Eden was like, you can't read it. You haven't read it. How would you know? There's no pauses in it. He put the pauses into his speech when he wrote it out. So he knew when he was taking a pause. Another great one is the King's speech. Obviously, it's an extreme example, but if you've seen that movie, he was encouraged, instead of stutter, to just pause. And of course, I said there was one more P. Practice! Practice! Don't wing it. Don't be like this guy and wing it. Don't be like the boys and wing it and just say, oh, it's all right, done it before. Find out where your venue is. Find out what the screen size is. Try and do a run through. Figure out whether you need to wear white and black so that you don't fade into the background. And then just hire the meeting room or go to the meeting room that you're going to do your presentation in and do a run through. You'll find out that you can't actually stand over here. You can't stand, you'll know. And that all of these little things will help you sound more confident be more authoritative, and people will want to listen. Doesn't seem that hard when I say it like that, does it? Now I know there's going to be a few of you here, they're going, yep, no, I've got that covered, tick, tick, tick. So I've got a challenge for you. Help each other. It sounds simple, but we forget that we need to support each other in lots of different ways. So if you've got someone in your business that's actually going to do their first presentation to the wider sales team or to the board of directors or the executive team, help them. So let's do a run through. Give me your notes. Let's see how you go. Let's warm up. Give them a feedback. Commend, recommend, commend, so you don't crush their little souls before they even start. And then maybe go on a course together, but just help each other. And if you don't want to take my word for it, take Madeleine Albright's word for it, the first female Secretary of State. Special place in hell, ladies. Special place in hell for those of you that don't help each other. So, networking. I know that for many of you it's kind of like, oh, let's get out of work early, go and have a few drinks with the friends. And that's fair enough, that's part of it. But let's talk a couple of things about networking. It's step 2 on my little ladder of staircase of success. Number 1, it sounds a little bit like I'm going to be a bit bossy and planning here, but prepare to succeed. If you come to an event like this, it's really great, and JLL people, Nick Hargreaves did say to me on Friday night, yeah, I signed off lots of invoices for that event, so they better be better afterwards, just saying. Plan to succeed, come back with some cards, meet some new people, you never know who's a client or who will refer you. Figure out what you want to say to them. Remember what successes you and your company have had. And get ready to be standing beside someone you work with and them to hear what you're saying to other people. Because you never know, they might be the one that says, hey, Sarah and I were at that event the other night and she was really good. You never know. So plan and prepare to succeed. How many of you walked into the room tonight and thought, oh, they're not here yet, I'll check my phone, very important message. Where's the toilets? Here's some hints. This is from Natalie Cutler-Welsh at the Go-To Girl Network. And she said, choose a group of 3. See this guy here? He's about to interrupt these ladies. No. If you are having to walk into a room and you don't want to stand there and look like Nigel No-Mates, find a group. You need a network, but find a group of 3 or 4, because then if you walk up to them and say, good evening, hi there, who's ever talking has got some people to talk to, and someone can turn to you and start talking to you. It sounds so simple, but it's probably going to work later on tonight, isn't it? The next thing is, and Anna and I discussed this, is that networking is a contact sport. You've got to get in and muck in and meet people. Otherwise you're just coming. People will remember your message more if they see and hear it. So what I mean by that is that not only will they remember your words, but if you say it was this long, they might not remember the exact centimetres, but they'll remember the length. If you've got your arms down here and go, so small, okay? They remember that. They get a visual in their head, so they remember it. That's the positive side of good body language. The negative side is that they might remember your negative body language. They might remember you being unintentionally doing this. I've seen people do speeches like this. I'm glad that they're getting their 10,000 steps a day, but for me it was like watching tennis, and it showed that they weren't as relaxed as I thought they should have been. So your body language can be a positive and enhance your message, or it can be a negative and can distract your message, because there's distracting mesmerisms that people start to go, I can't watch that anymore. This is the only international, universal sign language. So this is your number one weapon. Okay? Say no more. It's the smile. This is body language. And we've all probably experienced the wee handshake. I put this in because I want you to understand how right from the beginning, if you're speaking to people, your body language is important. A nice firm handshake is what's acceptable in New Zealand. I point that out because in my 4 to 6 hour workshops that I did in Singapore, we actually talked about the very light Asian handshake. Well, there are a lot of Americans that go, "G'day, how are you?" You know. I think the whole bone-crushing handshake thing's a bit out of vogue now, thankfully. However, in Singapore, you know, there were many people that would never handshake from man to woman anyway because they were a Malaysian Muslim, let's just say Muslim. But then there were also people that were very light in their handshake. And again, in New Zealand, we don't tend to like that wet fish. Is it wet fish that we call it? Wet fish kind of weak handshake. So try and adjust your handshake for the person. But that's body language. It's a hello, how are you? You can add loads of drama, but obviously not too much. We don't have drama queens. Okay? I think she's just so cute. You can see everything. You shall. You can see the determination. You can also act impact with your body language. Even if it's 1 minute or it's 6 minutes, you can talk about the size or the shape. Or you can still speak and demonstrate the flexibility. I'm not trying to show off. Or the benefit of something like that. Okay? And you can show them the direction that you want to take them from here to here. So you're enhancing your message with your body language. And then you want to be unauthentic at times. Yesterday a lady said to me, and so this is again, I'm always learning. She said to me, my speeches used to be looking like I was in the choir. Is this in the choir? Did anyone do choir? I didn't make it into the choir, but if you're in the choir, there's some sort of, which is silly because you want to have your hands down here. So at the back there, I've given you a homework on body language, and this is Mark Bowden, and I'm a big fan of him, which sounds weird, I know. And hold the ball. So my lady that yesterday said she was in the choir and did a lot of gripping. A lot of people it's like they're holding a pen, but they're just kind of like, no, they don't know what to do with their hand. If you don't know what to do with your hands, when you practice your speech, hold the ball. Because then your hands can be down here, right? Holding the ball. All of a sudden they're not together. If you rehearse your speech, which obviously if you've got a 6 minute longer, you are going to want to do a little bit of rehearsal. Rehearse with your holding the ball. Because then if you need to pass the ball, you can do that. If you need to do it up here, you can practice it being up here. Or down there. Or down low. What that will do for you is just get you your muscle memory triggering that your hands need to be down here. So Mark Bowden has done a lot of research into what is the right kind of body language and where does this instinctively come from. It's in the brain stem. If I'm like this, I'm defensive. I'm possibly nervous. Yes, it might be you feel like it's quite natural, but what he's saying to people is that this is more open body stance. Without knowing it, our brainstem is telling us this person doesn't have any weapons. This person is not going to attack me. Now this is the irony of it. Remember your nerves? You're the one that's having all these eyes on you. You're feeling like your brainstem's telling you that you're being eyeballed and attacked. And he's saying to us, you fight all of that and then you do this and say, look, I haven't got anything. I'm your friend. I don't watch Sunday morning television, but the odd time that it's been on, I have seen the preachers, and they will do this. It's that sort of, come here my children, you can trust me. There's something innately, and I don't think we even necessarily consciously think it, hence his claim that it's down in the brainstem. This is open, and therefore you can trust me. I'm not lying. I have no weapons. It goes right back to that. Okay? He's saying sometimes you're going to have to be unauthentic, because the big catchword in speaking is everyone's got to be authentic, be yourself, be the best you. Completely get it, he says. But honestly, he said, if I got on the stage today and I was being completely authentic, I'd be telling you about the annoying things my children did today and how frustrating that traffic was, and I can't believe I actually made it. You need to be. Sometimes you might have to be unauthentic and actually be relaxed. What this also does for you is it means that you can then go on to purposeful body language, which is what you want to do. So if nothing, make sure that their voices are heard. Help other women get their message out to the world. Once you've found your purpose and your why, you're always going to succeed. So yes, I have found my purpose and my why. Thank you, ladies, for being part of my why.
Like that,
Okay.
That was a speech.
So I've just attended one of Diana Thomson's speech marks workshops, where she teaches you exactly how to help your speech hit the mark. So I've been here the whole day, and it's been an absolutely enjoyable session. I've learned so much. Her topic is very comprehensive, the amount of information that she presents to you, and she goes over and beyond, because she doesn't just present it to you, she actually explains it to you, she gives you working examples, and then she actually does experiential learning when she gets you to stand up in front of everybody else and practice what she's just taught you. So you walk away feeling so much more confident. You know how to structure your answers, you know how to promote yourself, and it really boosts your confidence. So if you haven't been able to do this yet, if you're thinking about either speaking in front of people, if you need to do your own workshops, if you need to do Facebook Lives, I would recommend attending one of these workshops. Thank you.
All right. Most of you are here. Shall we wait for everybody? No, let's not. Ladies, before we start, we have to have a little housekeeping note. The first one, of course, is about fire exits. In the unlikely occasion of having an emergency, please follow your staff. Your staff tonight are myself, of course Natalie, and Karen Newbold from Ginger Thinking. Karen's over there, if you turn to the right. Karen is our behind-the-scenes event organiser tonight. So, there are fire exits directly behind you, and then also one smaller one over there. But I suggest that you just make your way calmly down to the back and out through the exits and assemble in the car park. Toilets. We do have two gentlemen at the back, but that's all. So if you find a queue for the toilet, please use all three, men's, women's and unisex. And there's also the other ones in the other room as well. So don't feel that you have to queue up. Phones. The dreaded phone. Tonight, of course, we're at a Go-To Girl event, which means that we love you to Facebook Live, post, Insta, whatever is your, and Snapchat, although I haven't figured out how to do that, so good luck. But do that. But if you are going to be using your phone to take notes or to do social media posts, please try to keep it on silent at other times, because you'd hate to be the one that goes, yeah, honey, I'll call you back. Okay, has everyone had a busy year? Has everyone had a good year? I love even numbered years. They're the best. Well, I bet you've all been a little bit like me and put yourself down the priority list. I love that. No, was I supposed to put myself down the priority list? Doesn't matter, ladies, because we have 3 Christmas angels tonight to help us rethink our mindset. Louise Thomson will be speaking. Oh, shout out from the back. Oh, feel the love? Louise will be as a columnist, a yoga instructor, life coach, author, happiness activist, and I'm exhausted reading lists, which means I think I better listen very closely because she is going to talk about making yourself number one. Katrina McCart has come all the way from Australia. So g'day, mate, and welcome. She's going to speak about a revolutionary book after her investigations into marketing to mums. Are there any mums? Yeah. Oh, someone looks like, oh, yeah, I'm a mum. I guarantee that if you need to market to mums, you're going to get a lot out of Katrina's speech tonight. Does anyone have I remember when I met Natalie moment? Do you remember when you first met her or you first heard about her? I certainly do. Yeah, I can see some of you going, yep. I heard about her from my cousin's wife. Oh, you've got to meet Natalie. She's doing some great things. She's working really hard. She's making this amazing business. I went, oh, yeah, where's she doing that? Oh, Medibank. Huh? A Medibank? I thought to myself. And then I started hearing about her from other people. And Venus Network lady was going, oh, yeah, I went to the Go-To Girl event last night, and I was starting to feel a bit excluded, and I started to see posts. And do you know, it wasn't until my uncle said to me, Diana, you have to meet Natalie. Why aren't you connected with Natalie yet? I thought, okay, I get it. I heard about this woman so much that I really had to meet her. And do you know when some people say to you, oh, you really like that person? And half of you's going, oh, cool. And the other half of you's going, what if I don't? What if I don't like her? Well, I tell you, I came to the July event and I saw a woman making a difference. Not wanting to make a difference, but make a difference. She was working with her strengths and experiences, combining it with passion so that she could shine the light on other women, so that they could make a greater impact to the world. Not just to Auckland, not just to New Zealand, but the whole world. And that's the power of her business and the power of social media. But the thing I liked most is the way that she had these phrases. Are you all familiar with some of her phrases? She quickly taught me I needed to ditch, do, or, anyone? Delegate, exactly. She taught me a very, very important thing. Do you ever sit there staring at the phone thinking, phone could ring, that would be really good because then I don't have to ring that person and make that sales call? Well, she taught me to pull up my big girl knickers and up my brave. And it was just such a simple thing that I thought, up my brave, up my brave, up my brave, pick up that phone, make that phone call. But she also taught me a really important lesson, and she's going to teach some more and spread the word more tonight. She told me to give, get. I want you to give her a very warm welcome. She is the one and only go-to girl, Miss Nat Cutler-Welsh. Come on, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, Diana Thomson, you are hired for the next event.
It was my Everest, the highest peak, the greatest challenge, and something I thought I'd trained for, that I was ready for. My journey had started off innocently enough. 3 years beforehand, I needed to get out of the house. There were preschoolers that were driving me crazy and a slightly claustrophobic expat condo. I didn't even know any locals, so I decided to join the Toastmasters Club of Singapore because it just ticked all the boxes. Personal development, get out of the house. I started a bit wobbly at first, struggled through those impromptu speeches they make you do and got far more recommendations and commendations. It wasn't my best work, but I worked at it. And about 6 months later, I applied to work at an international relocations company. They said, no positions, but how about you be a workshop presenter? I got paid to speak. And then a few months later, the club asked me to start doing evaluations. So now I was having the joy of passing on my knowledge and helping other people. But it was with kind of a casual, I'll just see how it goes attitude, that I entered the 2013 Toastmasters Club of Singapore evaluation contest. I knew I wasn't going to win. I wasn't, because there was Kim. He was a multi-competition winner in all the different kinds of speeches. There was Oh Hock Chong, competition winner and professional coach and trainer. And the delightful Avi Leren, who just constantly delighted everyone with his speeches, and I was sure was going to delight the way into the judges' hearts. So I was not going to win. However, my mentor thought I could. Manoj came up to me saying, Diana, do you know what the competition's about? Do you know how they score? No. 10 points for the conclusion, Diana. 10 points. You must have a really good conclusion. Okay, good conclusion. Okay, good conclusion. Well, that was my reaction, somewhat inappropriately, when they announced me as the winner. I didn't even know if I could go to the next round. I had to check my diary. I could, so I practiced and I rehearsed and I used Manoj's templates and I practiced and I rehearsed, and off I went to the area competition. At the areas, I realised that, well, my club had got me up to quite a high standard, and I was very proud when I got announced the winner. But then we were on to division, and that's where the competition heated up. I was unsure to this day whether what made me win or not. But I did win, and I don't know why. Maybe just because I was white and English was my first language, I stood out. Who knows? But that meant that I and my friend Kim, who won the humorous speech contest, were off to the nationals. Oh, I'm sorry, internationals, because Thailand had an entry, don't you know? We were off. I practiced and I rehearsed. I got my skills just right. If I take you back to that climbing analogy, think of it as a climber that had to get all his climbing skills just right. Off I went. Hello, I'm here for the evaluation contest. Just the contest? Yes, just the contest. Not the whole semi-annual convention. No? Was I supposed to? Oh, all I'd done is notice that it was at the Chu La Lum Club. I figured the club probably seated a couple of hundred people. Open the double doors. As the locals would say, wow. The club seated 500 for dinner, and there in front, it was 600 people, and they were all looking at a stage, and everyone on the stage had headset microphones. Oh boy. So it came for the time. I sat down. Where's the tables, I kept saying? All the other competitions had tables. Where's the tables? By the time I was sitting down, I looked at the lady and went, that's not a speech. That's a one-woman play. How am I going to make recommendations out of that? Up to the holding area we went, and I started to pace. If you can imagine, I paced and I paced. I tried to figure out what I was going to say. Eventually, I gave up. I thought I'd go and talk to my friend Tom. Just a hint, talking to a CSP does not calm your nerves before a competition. My 2.5 minutes went by with a flash. I don't really remember it, but it wasn't until I saw Manoj's face afterwards that I got the first hint that something had gone wrong. Oh, that was a good recommendation, Diana. Thanks, Manoj. But, and we all know what happens with buts, I think you went over time. You've been disqualified. That was it. I was out of here. I wasn't going to hang around. I wasn't going to stay for the prize giving. I burst into tears in the toilets, composed myself. But I can tell you it took me days of licking the wounds. Okay. It took me weeks, probably about 5, before I actually decided to get it back on the proverbial horse and give another evaluation. I was devastated with that loss because it was my Everest, remember? That was my peak. That was my chance to get to the summit and do really well. But I learned from that. I learned from round 1 the power of a great conclusion. I learned from round 2, that if you surround yourself with great people, your standards lift. I learned from round 3 no, I didn't really learn anything from round 3. But round 4, I learned a lot. But the most important thing was that I learned from Manoj. She said to me in an email, Diana, someone asked me why you're so good, why you're getting ahead. And I had to tell them it wasn't because of my coaching, it wasn't because of my templates, it was because you were coachable, Diana. Gosh, how I wish I'd been coachable in the last round. You see, 3 other contestants had paid Manoj to coach them right up to that last point. And I hadn't. I just had to learn the hard way about the event. I needed to stay coachable. But that's the great thing about public speaking skills. As long as you're coachable, as long as you're willing to learn, then you can improve, because they're not for the elite, they're not for the highly educated only, they're for everyone. Anybody can get good at public speaking skills if they're coachable. And that's the even better thing, because now they're not only the thing that leaders need, they're most definitely one of the big things that set managers apart from their cohorts, and they're also the thing that people look for in graduates. Public speaking skills, anybody can have them. It's my mission now to help women get better at public speaking so that they will never miss their Everest day. Thank you.
This is officially my first fancy event that I've actually been invited to.
I see you got out your newest set.
I ironed a nice pleat in these.
Ah, I love a good crease in a pant.
Thank you.
And you're nominated for 5 awards?
Yeah, or a couple more than that, yeah. So hopefully we get 1 out of 5 or 6 or...
No, just aiming for 1.
Yeah.
Okay, now, my question on the tip of my tongue. The video you posted yesterday about how not to announce how you're having a baby. Was that an actual announcement?
Yeah, except I couldn't announce it on Facebook because that's the do not do that. But
no.
Yes, here I can say it. We have another baby on the way.
So warmest congratulations.
Thank you.
Which is great. So does that mean now that everything gets split 3 ways between 3 children, or how's that all going to work with profit share?
I don't know. Cars, how do I get 3 kids in a car? There's a lot of questions. Prams, they only make those side-by-side prams. Where's the 3 one? So I think I'm going to need to go and buy 3 wheelbarrows, weld them together, and I'm away.
Right, so that almost sounds like this was part of the grand design.
No, not at all. We always wanted a big family, and obviously we get to make some more silly videos because we've got a baby, but no matter how old they get, I'm still a dad, still making stupid stuff.
Absolutely. I've got to say, I wish that you were around when I had babies 10 years ago, because it would have chilled me out a lot more. And I think my husband looked at it and said, see, I told you it wasn't that complicated.
It's all for the dads out there. They can agree with most of the stuff I do. It's the mums who are going,
no, don't encourage them. And so your followers on Instagram, Facebook, I can't remember how many you've got. It's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. Men or women?
It's a big mix. Facebook is 75% women. Right. YouTube is 50-50.
Yeah.
Instagram, I only just got, and I don't even know how to use it, so I don't know.
Fair enough. And I saw you on 7 Sharp. That must have been a bit of a, bit of fun.
Yeah, it's good now. A lot of the TV companies kind of know who I am, so we had a book come out, so I was like, hey, can we get on?
2 books. Is it 2 books? Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Now for Father's Day, How to Dad Volume 2, in stores nationwide.
Yeah, covering it all. So now you're a YouTuber, a dad, a Facebooker, an Instagrammer, and an author.
Yeah, well, we want to do as much as possible. I mean, it started off by chance, this whole thing. I got 1 video that went viral. Then after that, we thought, let's do How to Dad, and we want to do as much as possible. So why not? Why not?
Why not? All right, well, the speaking circuit's next up. They'll be knocking at your doors. Right. Ching, ching. So good luck tonight.
Hey, thank you.
Have a great time.
And,
make sure you get all your drinks in you.
Yeah, where's the drinks?
Okay, so that was Jordan. Obviously, really enjoying the fact that he's gone from 1 video to becoming a sensation on Facebook and YouTube. He's managed to go from that one video to having 2 books out and also being on 7 Sharp recently. So you can see that there is power in those videos. He's part of one of the parenting categories, new to the awards tonight. And also a number of other ones for his How to Fly with a Baby, which is not a particularly great guide of how to fly to a baby, but funny nonetheless, like all his other work. So we're just going to have a couple more interviews before we wrap up. People are starting to take their seats now, and I'm sure the awards will be getting underway just a few minutes later than expected on schedule.